Hey, everybody, welcome to Couch Dimension, our video games podcast where a lawyer, a software engineer, and a gamer come together in an ethereal world of living room furniture to talk about games and gaming news. I'm America's premier legal mind, Tiny Big Dude, joined as always by my co hosts. Fellas, introduce yourselves.
I'm Captain. I'm the software engineer responsible for every cyber attack on public utilities.
And I'm Red, whose Microsoft Gamer Score numbers in the billions.
We've got a great show for you today. It's the end of the month, which means we're bringing you Chill Dimension, where we take a break from the news to talk about what we've been playing, the game of the month, and answer some of the most pressing questions in the games industry.
I gotta tell y'all, seeing the show notes, I'm real eager to talk to y'all about the games this week. I am fascinated to hear both your thoughts on your game. So I kind of want to go ahead and dive into it, if that's all right.
Let's do it.
I'll just go in the order of our notes. Tiny, what you been up to?
I have spent the last couple of days building my kingdom and ruling over it in Manor Lords. Manor Lords is fun. It's kind of like a city builder slash RTS. It's a city builder, but it has combat in it, which is interesting. It's cool. I'm kind of surprised that it's gotten the level of hype that it's gotten. I'm not sure if you saw it. It sold like very well. But I'm kind of surprised because it is still very early access. There's a lot of missing or half implemented features. And that's not a criticism. It's just, it is what it is. But it's kind of weird for me because there are similar games like, if I'm going to pronounce this right, I don't know, but Ixion and Cyberpunk, not Cyberpunk, Jesus, Frostpunk. Cyberpunk's a whole different thing. But a city building mod for Cyberpunk is a whole thing I won't get into, but I very much want.
Tiny, I believe I mentioned in a previous episode, but if you aren't craving hard mechanics, there is a city builder that I bought earlier yesterday, based around Cyberpunk. So
those games are like fully developed, so it's kind of weird to see that like Manor Lords is taking center stage in this genre. But that said, I think it's the military aspect, right? Like people want to be able to fight, and I think that's what's really pushing it.
It looks like for what is there, it at least looks very nice. It looks polished for what it is. And I can't fully explain. When I first saw it, I was like, ooh, I want to get hands-on with this. And of course, I have not gotten around to it yet because my backlog of games just increases a lot of the time. But it looks extremely fun. When it comes to modern city builders, I'm a little less invested. Like, I messed around very briefly with, say, Skylines. Maybe I'd like it more once I get more into it. But I usually need something with, like, a cool aesthetic or flair gimmick outside of just modern infrastructure.
Yeah, I agree. I that's why I like Frostpunk a lot, is because the universe of it, it's bleak, but it's cool, right?
Mm-hmm. Red, have you ever given any of these games a try? They're not. I don't know if you'd love them, but just kind of interested if you touch the genre.
The short answer is I haven't touched the genre since I don't know if it's like what is it? The fuck, I forget what it's called.
Where you
just like build a park or some shit.
Like you mean Flags? Like a yeah?
Okay, yeah. That counts. That counts.
You know, I haven't touched that since like the first one.
I've actually been real tempted.
When I was a wee lad, and I just in general do not think I would enjoy these types of games. However, I think I would be very interested in watching one of you play these games.
Not to spoil anything, but you might get some hands-on experience in the near future.
Anything else you want to talk about with it, or want to move on to Red?
Yeah, I just a couple of final thoughts.
Yeah, go for it.
Gameplay is pretty simple. It's not asking you the most mechanically, which I like, because like Ixion gets really mechanic heavy, and it kind of becomes a bit impenetrable. And it's, nowhere near as impenetrable as Civilization or Crusader Kings, given those are sort of a different genre of
Yeah.
strategy game. But the one thing with these kinds of games that I would ask both of you keep in mind, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, is that it will take a couple of tries to get your hands around what you're being
Yeah.
asked to do. And you're going to hit bottlenecks that will doom your entire civilization. And you just kind of have to be cool with like, okay, well, I'm going to roll back from start and I'm going to actually do it right this time. So I'm on my now third save of Manor Lords, and I think I've gotten some of it down, but you just never know when a mechanic is going to come out of left field. And it's kind of worse with Manor Lords because the early access means there's not a great tutorial.
Oh
Actually,
yeah.
in games like that, I often find the failures to be as fun as the successes. Like, because it'll be interesting how it falls apart, and you're kind of like trying to save it in a mad rush, and yeah,
Yeah,
every now and then you'll clutch it out, but
you're trying to fix systemic problems that you caused, like, out.
yeah.
Yeah.
For me, my latest one failed because my citizens could not access enough things in the market because I didn't put the distribution granaries close enough to the market, and the NPCs carry like one fruit at a time to the stall, and that killed me.
Not the most
Oh,
useful.
that the throughput will get you. That is a problem you'll run into in Factorio as well.
But you gotta tell me I gotta learn economy.
Uh,
eh,
I'm not going to ask you to do anything quite as complicated.
no,
I'll say that.
Okay.
you're all
Reg, you
good.
want to tell us a little bit about Elden Ring?
Yeah. Little known game, Elden Ring. Got an update the other day with some DLC. Nobody's talking about it on the face of the earth. Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm sure actually a lot of people are playing this. I think we could at least talk up to Rolana, the
Yeah.
two sword wielding boss that does magic and fire attacks.
Spoiler warning for anyone interested in this. I think.
Yes. If you are interested in this and you don't want spoilers up to that first boss, you can click to the next chapter of this video and you will avoid the Elden Ring discussion.
If you're a Twitch listener, what are you doing listening to us? And you could be, if you haven't done Elden Ring, what are you doing? What are you
And,
doing?
and if you're a
It's a video game news
listener,
podcast. We're going to talk about Elden Ring.
if
It's
you're
the
a
hottest thing right now.
Look, I'm happy you're here, but I'm a little confused.
if you're a podcast listener, I'm sorry to say, but you're fucked.
Yeah.
You know what? Same applies. Same applies. Hit pause. Be one of those first two bosses.
Go for it.
We'll be here.
We'll be waiting. Yeah. So the thing is, I know a lot of people are like, I'm gonna make I don't know what the standard levels are for playing the game. They're like, I'm gonna get to like level 120 or whatever before I get to the DLC. Believe you me, I was over level 300. It does not matter. You're gonna
really
get your
doesn't.
You are going to get your cake handed to you. And by cake, I mean ass. Your ass will be handed to you. The game is balanced for anyone who's been playing Elden Ring for any amount of time. And
Yep.
I kind of want to start there with some basic tips. There is a item you can pick up and consume at the Sites of Grace called a Erdtree fragment. And
So-
everybody can only see the Kung Fu Panda skadoosh in their head.
I
That's me.
actually have two things to note. So apparently, that's weird fantasy Welsh for shadow. So it's actually pronounced Shadow Tree.
That
But
would make sense.
I don't fault you for it because how on earth were you supposed to know that? I only know it because I was watching a stream and they mentioned it. But I also have really enjoyed on that stream. They just kept calling it the Skidoo Tree.
The skadoo.
The Skidoo fragments.
Blue skadoo. Yeah, you're gonna want to collect these because these will increase your defense and your attack while you are in the DLC. It is maybe the most important thing for you to do is to find as many of these things as you can and consume them at any site of grace. Another thing I'm going to recommend use the new weapons. The new weapons have very unique move sets in the DLC. Almost every weapon does. There's not very many. Just this is the same kind of weapon from the base game, but maybe some different kind of stats.
I've been playing around with Milady and Pitta, I think you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Milady, for those who don't know, light greatsword. It is a very fun moveset. It's a very flowy,
really fun.
long sword.
I like the heavy a lot.
I don't like it. I
Because
don't
it
like
chains.
it because you have to take your helmet off and wear a fedora to use it.
Or you could put a lion's head on.
This is true. You could put a lion's head on. But what you should do as soon as you get onto the new map is go forward, and when you see the big flaming guy, turn left and go into the jail there and fight the Phantom and get his armor and sword. Highly
God,
recommend
that jail's
that,
cool.
because
that jail's fucked up.
You need to explore and you need to get some poise, my friend. If you don't, obviously everybody's going to have their own play style. I mean, some people are going to be more about the dodging and not the tanking, but if you can manage it without compromising the way you play the game, at least go for 51 poise. That is actually a cutoff point in PvE that will let you get some attacks out without being staggered as bad. You're still going to take damage, but you won't be staggered as often, especially against these smaller guys.
Michael Q surprised me because I didn't know he doesn't use a shield. He's out there, wand in one hand, sword in the other, just dodging all the time. And for some of those bosses, that's scary.
That is absolutely scary. What I'm seeing a lot of people say that they've been doing, a lot of people, I guess, who've just been complaining about the difficulty, is using great shields and spears and turtling up and just poking.
I did briefly because very quick story. When I came back to the game, I couldn't remember what I was doing in my previous playthrough. I just hadn't progressed to New Game Plus for the DLC. I had Crucible Knight armor on. I forget which sword. I was lost as to what I was doing. So I tried using that knight armor for a while, which was not working with the rest of my gear because I remember now I just put on to look at the fashion, which is very nice. But I did try turtling a little bit and putting greatsword on, but I am not spec'd into that. I'm still thinking about speccing into it because the armor's really cool.
yeah, the armor's really cool. You're talking about the Solitude armor?
It was the Crucible Knight
just
armor
the base game Crucible Knight armor? Yeah.
It looks
it is really cool. So did you go to Rolana first, or did you go to the Lion Dancer first?
I went to Rolana first, and then after getting my ass beat by her, I made my way to the Lion Dancer.
Okay, did you get your ass handed to you by the Omen guy with the big old curved greatsword right outside the door, I guess, to the Lion Dancer? I got my ass handed to me so many times by them.
So I'm going with sorcery. So if I try fighting honestly, I took some notes from Michael Q, and I'm trying to do that myself. So, and I'd already spec'd into sorcery because I was thinking, oh, you know what? He makes a good point. I can double my offense, and if I can learn their moveset well enough, I can dodge a lot. Don't need the shield. So I was casting Comet a lot at them, a fully charged Comet. If you do a few of those, it'll stagger them, and you can usually knock them out pretty quick.
Yeah, Comets are really good base game sorcery, from what I remember. I usually stick with incantations. I just love chucking lightning spears.
I honestly, when I was going to respec, I was going to go into strength and faith.
I unga, therefore I bunga.
Exactly. Tiny, I wanted to ask you because I know you didn't make it all the way through Elden Ring the first time. Did you keep up with any of the marketing? Have you seen anything from the DLC?
Yeah, I've been watching Red January stream of it every now and again. And I was going to say, gang, I'm sorry. I never beat Elden Ring, so I don't.
You're all good.
I just add to this combo. But I mean, the shit that I'm seeing, I'm super jealous. It's sick.
It'll beat your ass, but it's sick as hell. They've surprised FromSoft made a good game. I do have one gripe.
I was just say I love that it is reigniting the "Are FromSoft games too hard?"
It,
conversation again.
but in a very different way, because I think a lot of the people complaining that it's too hard are the same people who are telling everyone else to get good before, and it's extremely
Uh-huh.
funny.
Uh-huh. Because they were
Um,
thinking that they're super over-leveled characters were gonna walk in and beat everything's ass, and now they are finding that that is not true.
That is
it's
100% not true. Level 400 will not save your ass.
and like not interacting with the mechanics. Like there's a big glowing cross at one point. You go over there, they tell you, "Hey, follow these." You get a fragment of the skidoo tree fragment, and it tells you like, "Hey, use this. You'll get a permanent buff while you're in the Shadowlands to your defense and offense." And it's basically that's your level up item. And
Yeah.
they're just not pursuing those. And also like this insistence of like, well, I'm never going to use spirits. Only weak players use spirits. And look, there are some people who like, yeah, they can do that. But some are finding out maybe they need the spirits. And it's more important to have fun with the game than to make it a big pride thing, I think.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm using spirits.
I've seen a lot of people
I'm bitch
talking
made.
about the old prepare to die commercials
Mhm.
being the reason why it's the individual achievement focus for a lot
Yeah.
of the Souls games today, and not
I-
the crowd, not the group effort.
I really do love watching these people crying and shitting and, you know, just throwing absolute fits because, like, yeah, dude, use the summon. Do it.
do
Do
the
it.
thing. It
Do it.
helps. It helps a lot.
In
Like-
fact, to get some of the gear in the game, you have to use the summons.
And like, guess what? You can, if you want to do it without the summon, you can always come back and do it again. Just do another playthrough, do a different character. It's fine.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe you should do it with summon so you can learn some familiarity, get some comfortability, and just experience what's there. Or you could just, as a popular streamer has done, say, I could have beaten it, but it's not fun. I don't want to. And then
I don't
leave.
want to beat this game.
I'm not.
I could, but just trust me.
The corn cobbing has never been stronger.
Anything else you want to add, Rudd?
No, I think we covered some of the good basic tips. I mean, the game's going to tell you which you basically go left or go right. If you find some NPCs, they'll tell you where to go, and have fun with the game, and don't beat your head against a brick wall.
Do what I've been doing, and if you're hitting a wall, just start exploring. There's so much. It's so dense.
Yeah, use machine learning. If you hit a wall, go the other direction.
Well, I'll tell y'all for my game, I don't got a lot to say, and that's partially because I do want to get to the game of the month discussion. But I would I've been dipping back into Gary's mod. I played a little bit with friend the other day and kind of reignited something. Like I played the hell out of that game back in the day in just sandbox mode. There is something genuinely fun about like either setting up spawns so you have a bunch of enemies, or sometimes you can load saves that other people made, so like you're in a pre-made environment then with enemies already out there, and just fucking around with dumb guns or guns from other games. I have a Destiny mod on. I have a shit ton of Destiny guns. And when enemies die, sometimes they'll drop engrams. They'll just automatically give you another one. It's great. Look, it's not for everyone, but like, okay, there are other game modes I think are more for everyone, but sandbox I get. It's a very like, you're making your own goals, but I think it's for anyone who's never tried it or enjoy sandbox experiences, like it's still maybe the best one you could have, just for the sheer variety of things you can download. Also, so recently Nintendo asked them to take down all Nintendo content, and I don't know if maybe they haven't been super thorough in that, or if Nintendo just quit paying attention, or maybe Nintendo forgot they owned Waluigi, but Waluigi's still there. And I forget.
I do like the alternate theory I had earlier that Nintendo doesn't own Waluigi. He just showed up one day.
He
And oh my
manifests.
god.
Yeah, you can't really chain Waluigi down. And I didn't even have this in the show notes because honestly, I was playing it earlier today before we did this. And I'm just going through Final Shape on Destiny 2 with my Hunter. And God, that's fun. I've got a hand cannon, I've got the Still Hunt exotic. And I'm running Celestial Nighthawks. I'm killing things super quick with those when it's a big enough enemy. But like something about, I love playing Warlock. I love Titan, but man, hunters move quick. I love going fast and killing fast and killing with minimal shots with my hand cannon. It's been a blast. It has reignited my love for that character or that class.
Yeah, I play Hunter. I main Hunter, and my strategy is just to run as fast as I can at the enemies and get shot.
I do a lot of I do a lot of hanging back. I've tried to spec into like having a higher recovery because if I can go invisible, just get a second, then I'm good. But yeah, all to say like if you play that game and you have a class you really enjoy, like no shame in that. If that's all you enjoy, that's all good. But if you ever feel like maybe giving other classes a try, highly encourage it because it can be a really, really good time to like change up your play style in a big way. And with that, I want to talk about changing up our play styles in a big way by playing a game that Red recommended to us.
Absolutely. Solar Ash. Welcome to my second favorite game of 2021. Number one's Monster Hunter Rise. Who do you think I am? Solar Ash was released December 2nd, 2021, developed by Heart Machine, the same studio that made Hyper Light Drifter in 2016, and will be releasing Hyper Light Breaker later this year. Just to add a little context, Hyper Light Drifter was a 2D isometric Souls-like that had a pixel art style. Solar Ash is the official leap from 2D to 3D for the studio, where Heart Machine seems to be comfortable existing now. Heart Machine was created by Alex Preston in 2013. The name Heart Machine draws its name from the medical conditions associated with congenital heart disease that Preston is suffering from. And that is very important to note because of the overarching themes present in the games Heart Machine has developed, as I'm sure my co-hosts have realized by now.
I've heard that Hyper Light Drifter very much, there's a big theme related to that, or big themes related to that.
Absolutely. I would say that based on 2 games they released so far, Heart Machine wants to create unique, fun, and very poignant games. Previously, I described Solar Ash as Sonic Adventure 2 meets Shadow of the Colossus. Gang, does that hold true for y'all?
Yeah,
or do you
that's
feel
pretty
it's
accurate.
More? Do y'all have a more apt description? It holds accurate for you?
Yeah, I think I think you hit the nail right on that.
That was
there is a little puzzle game flavor in there too that I think is kind of left out by that, but I'm not enough of a puzzle gamer to like know what the analog is.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt your bit earlier. Now
He caught me monologuing.
The question. I had a question about their transition to third-person games. I might have to re-summon that up in a minute. Apologies for that. I do want to ask, Hyper Light Breaker... No, I remember. Is Solar Ash in the same universe?
Yes, all the games are set so far in the same universe, though at different times and places.
Neat. That's really neat. Because I saw some stuff that's like, I feel like this is referencing Hyper Light Drifter stuff. I haven't played that, so I don't know for sure. But it was like naming some characters or a race or something. It's like, I don't know who this is, but I feel like there's an expectation I should. Okay, just wanted to check. And yeah, I was going to ask if Hyper Light Breaker was in 3D, but you kind of clarified that. So yeah, sorry. Carry on. I just wanted to follow up on that.
Okay, so let's talk about the kind of the world of Solar Ash. After a quick tutorial with a really cool Breath of the Wild-like scene, we're introduced to the first area, which you can see on stream right now, called the Crater, and the first boss, called Crater Ouroboros. Like Shadow of the Colossus, bosses tend to be a part of the area you are in, though they are fairly inactive and a part of the background. Very quickly, you learn you have to clear out the corrupted sections in the zone to open creepy eyeballs on the boss. And after doing all of them, the boss enters the zone you're in and the fight sequence starts. What is neat about this part is the boss is both stage and enemy, by which I mean you kill the boss with sick movement tech. I found I can do the first area in about 10 minutes. It's a good intro area. It's a main hub if it is maybe a little bland compared to the other ones. You'll move on to the Broken Capital pretty quickly and get your first quest there. To quickly travel through that quest, we learn that because of the void capturing the worlds and shuffling everything as it all falls apart, memory becomes non-constant. The character of this first quest, Lyris, has a Groundhog Day-esque life now, repeating the same intentions and days over and over mentally. So at the end, we realize they've been doing it for a very, very long time. The worlds all have their own story to tell, either from the logs you find or the other NPCs that you can do quests for. For my dollar, I think Mirror Sea is my favorite in terms of level design and boss. That's the one with the giant ship in the sky.
I was going to ask you, but yeah, sorry, I'm jumping the gun.
And we can talk more about that, but I want to hear from the two of you first. Which world and boss was your favorite? Tiny, you beat the game in one night. Let's start with you and then hear Captain's thoughts.
Yeah, so by beating the game in one single 5-hour play session, I kind of robbed myself of getting a lot of the lore, and I'm actually the only person on this podcast that did not 100% this game. But it's not because I didn't like it. It's because I have little patience for cutscenes and exploration when there are giant monsters to kill and places to jet skate through. So my terminology is going to be a little imprecise because I didn't really pay attention to what things were named. But the mushroom area stood out to me. It was absolutely beautiful. It was a little more puzzle heavy than the others.
I really, really like the vibes of what's it called? The Umbral. Red, you're gonna have to help me here. It was Umbral something, I believe.
Oh, I don't have it open right now. I had a map open earlier with all of
it. It was the mushroom zone. That's the nighttime mushroom zone as opposed to the lava mushroom zone.
Absolutely.
Wait,
Mirror Sea.
There was a lava mushroom zone?
It's where you fought the bird.
One.
Oh, I didn't realize there were mushrooms around there. I guess, there were a few. Yeah, okay.
I really enjoyed that zone, the nighttime one, just because I do like some of it was a little bit more puzzle focused, but at the same time, like, it's weird after going to the city and stuff, but like that's the one that made me go, oh fuck, this game went to a scale I did not expect.
I can't imagine the Bloodborne zone got you.
By the way, Tiny, I actually almost played the whole game in one night as well. However, I had to split between two because by the time I logged off, my eyes were aching, and it was 8 a.m. So
that'll
when
do
I
it.
say I played it all night, I played it all night.
I'm glad to hear
the game hooked me. It was
I'm
really
glad
good.
to hear that it hooked y'all so much, even though it's relatively simple of a game.
Not every game has to be super complicated.
Mechanics section to talk about why I think that is one of this game's biggest strengths. But as far as zones go, I also really liked what'd you call it, the Mirror Sea?
The Mirror Sea, the one with the spaceship floating above everything.
Yeah, where there's like there's a series of like spaceship parts leading up into the air that you have to like platform across. That shit was awesome. And it like really, because it's the last proper stage of the game, it really rewards like everything you've been learning the whole time if you can do it fluidly and not fuck up and fall and have to do it all over again.
You must not have had a good time at the lava stage, because the lava stage is the last stage of the game.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You're blocking that. You're blocking it out of your mind.
I didn't have a great time at the lava stage.
Now, there's something. Wait, I might be able to I'm looking. I've been trying to look through my captures for it. I meant to send this to you in advance, but honestly, and this is my bad time, I completely forgot to send you this footage.
Oh, good. There's plenty.
Well, I had two things. I had a minor gripe I wanted to bring up. I wasn't really gonna bring it up here, but it's the most relevant time to. I have two captures of it. Might send it to you if you ever just want to post it or something. The final boss arena. If you don't enter the arena with enough momentum, you will get caught in an infinite fall thing where you just won't land in the arena.
Okay. So it's like Mario. It's like a Mario I think this happened to me because I fought the boss earlier this morning. It had the same thing. It's like a Mario Galaxy style glitch, and you just start flying in a ring around the arena.
Exactly, and it happened to me twice, which means I saw the ending cutscenes 3 times.
The way I was able to get rid of it was just looking at the ground, and you just fell down.
What I did is just made sure I was dashing in. If you go in with a dash, you're all good. But that was a minor gripe. I had some footage of that. Like I said, it happened twice. It's not the biggest deal. It's frustrating at the time, but I won't remember it long term. However, what I did want to send, and the capture I'm most upset that I forgot to send Tiny, were 2 pictures that I did not want him to look at until this. So I'm just going to have to read them to you. By not looking into the side stories, you miss some rooms with a bunch of books in them. There are references to different things. But there were 2 that stood out to me. One is, this book tells the story of a goblin sovereign who kidnapped children and held them captive in a large maze. That's Labyrinth, baby.
I can't. That relates to no media outside of the game.
It's so funny to me that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I have a better one for you because they did 2. If this will load for me, I might not. If it doesn't load, I'll just tell you. As much as I'd love to read it off, once again, this is entirely my bad, but there's a book that basically tells you it's home improvement. It describes home improvement. It says that the book focuses a lot on a man whose hardware frequently malfunctions on him and frequently focuses on his grunting noises.
That's amazing.
So fucking funny. I lost it so hard.
They went for Labyrinth, which is like, pretty thematically kind of in a similar vein, I guess. Yeah. And then they were like, and what else? Home improvement. We got to get Tim Allen in this shit.
I followed Zoe Quinn, one of the writers on the show, for a while on Twitter, and it's like, at the very least, it's very much her sense of humor. I don't know that she's exactly the one who put it in there, but like, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me. Yeah, sorry, that was a long tangent. That is my bad, but it felt hilarious. Vital to me to let you know that at the very least, this game references home improvement.
I love it. I love it.
Let's keep going. So the narrative, like Hyper Light Drifter, in a lot of ways, this game is about letting go and futility. But unlike Hyper Light Drifter, the ending is hopeful for a new path forward. If you discovered every log in the game, looking at you, Tiny, and you if you discovered every log for the other NPCs that went into the void with you, you find that all the characters start hopeful or blind to the truth and eventually learn they cannot do anything to change anything. You even find each character stuck in a terrible state, caught between life and death. Then there's the stories of the NPCs that are seemingly native to the worlds you visit. The story of Lyris, she's trying to find her partner, but she can't remember. She has visited his grave many times over. Ark's journey through the fungal afterlife that he has taken and failed numerous times and is destined to never succeed. Admiral Ames' away team, unfortunately deceased and forsaken by their king, but hey, at least we get a cool reward for finding each log in a cool suit with a buff that we all know about. In particular, I think I enjoyed Captain Ames' story the most, learning the failure of the monarchy and executing the rich and greedy as retribution for their failure and abandonment of their people just hits in a way that isn't terribly depressing like the other two.
Well, it wasn't until he starts huffing that copium. That hurt me. That genuinely, like, oh, fuck, man. Because basically this character sees... for you, Tiny, he sees they have the idea of, the quest is called Philosopher King, and the idea that their leader is like this noble person who they don't even have a lot of wealth or anything. And by the end, you find out, they had a safe room filled with gold. And they shot some guys as they came in.
That's what was in that vault?
Yeah.
And after, like, he kills 2 of the soldiers who enter the room, and the leader that you've been interacting with, like, he then kills the king because of it. To which, at first, he's like, but he feels bad over it. And then he decides, actually, the void is what corrupted him, and their mission was fine, and he was a good man. And it's like, no, you were... You're watching him protect himself from having to reckon with it too hard, and it hurt. You know what, though? By the ending of the game, I would say that you said his name, and I cannot remember the mushroom or the man in the
Art.
Yeah. It kind of ends with the idea that they all might have a future now because of your actions, and though they didn't have a future previously, also. You know what? I'll let you get there.
Yeah.
But they have promise. I think they have hopeful ends. Do you know, Tiny? Did you get to see them in your epilogue at all?
No. In fact,
Okay.
I went into the last part of the story with this in mind. I was like, okay, if the ending sucks and is sad, then I'm gonna go back and do all the optional shit because maybe there's a good ending, right? But the ending was good, and I was like, oh, okay, I feel closure. I don't feel like I need to go do that. So I kind of played myself there. And
you're good. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
When it comes to the fact that the suits had gameplay changes, all I can say is, oh wow, this is the first I'm hearing of.
There are some good ones in there. I enjoyed the one that doubled my attack strength, but I really enjoyed the one that lets me regain health every time I kill an enemy. That helped in some areas.
Oh, maybe that's the one I was using then. Because I did get one suit, and I just used it, but I had no idea what it did.
I tended to change them as I got them for the most part.
Yeah. So what's funny is the last suit you get from the last...
That one's a bummer.
That one is a bummer. The last suit of the game that you get from a world.
Penultimate. Because after you beat the game, you'll get one.
Yeah, that's a little treat.
Yeah, that one's a treat. That one's fine. That one's great, but
the last suit that you can collect all of the logs for and unlock tells you where logs. It'll show logs for you when you ping the environment.
Oh, that's cruel.
And it's one of those things that's super helpful if you haven't been getting them. But damn, do you wish you'd gotten something more interesting if you've been on it,
Yeah. If it was like, man, I can collect stuff, I'm gonna collect everything. Hey, this helps you collect stuff. I've collected everything.
I'm a little surprised that the individual character stories didn't give you anything. Like, other than just like some extra things on the ending, which it's fine. Like, it was additional story. I was very happy for it. Just a little surprising was all.
They gave you feelings.
They did give me feelings. By the way, I just want to say, because of the scene that's currently playing of our B-roll, God, I enjoyed, there was way more Mario Galaxying than I ever thought was in this game. Like, I did not know, especially in the last zone, there's quite a good deal.
Oh, yeah.
But this fight in particular had me thinking a lot about Galaxy.
Yeah. The bosses are almost like I said earlier, they're stages unto themselves. But let's talk gameplay mechanics. So the gameplay isn't revolutionary. It's skating and kicking ass while jumping and looking cool. You can grind on rails, solve puzzles, do basic attack combos, boost around at the speed of sound, got places to go, got a fall. Wrong game. There's a few unique mechanics the game has, though. Normally, after beating a boss, you would earn something like a cool weapon or more HP like Zelda with heart containers. Instead, this game takes a life pip after every boss defeat. And I actually find it really neat. Gameplay-wise, it wasn't a big problem for me. I was always able to purchase a new pip after I lost it, and I usually bought a new pip before I fought a boss.
I had so much plasma that, no, it was never.
Yeah, I ended the game with 12,000 plasma, I think. But I really felt like striking that balance is what makes it narratively fun and not a gameplay detriment. Heart Machine wanted you to feel like beating the game is hurting yourself. The really fun moments come from hunting the logs, clearing the corruption, and fighting the bosses, by which I mean this game isn't really a sandbox for coolness like other fast-paced movement games, but a curated experience where everyone will see all the cool moments. There's no upgrades to get as far as attack or player abilities go. The suits provide all that. Personally, I stuck with the decreased boost cooldown after I unlocked it, so I could
use
just
that one quite a bit
fly across maps. And I actually found myself skipping parts of puzzles because of it, and this is actually my second time through the game. And I imagined y'all had favorite suits, but I know only one of y'all did, and we talked about this a little bit already.
No, you're good. I forgot about. I use the boost one quite a bit as well, especially when like doing boss sections, because you'll get your health back if you die. I want speed. I need speed for those sections. So yeah, I used it a decent amount as well.
I'm a real gamer that doesn't need a crutch.
Well, actually, you technically you say that, but you might have been using the repaired suit, so you had faster reload on your time abilities.
Oh,
yeah, your times,
okay.
your kind of bullet time ability. If you're using the first suit, you
faster.
It does make it recharge faster.
Yeah, no, I was using one. I just didn't know it had any gameplay implications. But yeah, no.
Real ones use the damage suit that doesn't actually have anything.
I really, mostly played it with base mechanics, but I loved it. And, I didn't really feel like the game needed more complex combat or more abilities or anything like that. I think it was perfect in the simplicity that it had. It felt good the whole time, and it didn't feel like I was stacking a bunch of shit up that I have to remember to use or anything like that, It's just like, learn these things, learn them really well, now execute. And
it's actually a really interesting contrast with Elden Ring, because don't get me wrong, I love options, I love building out a character and having a whole kit and stuff, but I get overwhelmed in Elden Ring sometimes, and while I've spent enough time with Destiny that I don't get that as bad. Like, I was just playing some Destiny with Michael Q this weekend. It's like his brother and I were trying to kind of walk him through some of the, like, what are your need to know mechanics, because it's just so much. And it's nice to have a good focused experience, just a tight, easy to learn thing. It's great.
And I think it plays how you remember the Sonic and Shadow portions of Sonic Adventure 2 playing. And note I say remember because they were actually pretty clunky if you go back.
Yeah, but I am I'm a little interested in Sonic X Shadow Generations. I can't wait for them to kiss.
Hopefully that will be good. Sonic, but Sonic Generations was good, so maybe that'll be good too.
Also, sorry to reference the B-roll again. I keep interrupting. I apologize. I just wanted to say that this was one of my favorite of the bosses. It was the most like Shadow of the Colossus to me. Well, maybe not the most, but it was definitely up there. This one was cool as hell.
Yeah, for those podcast listeners, this boss has a giant sword, and your way to get up to the boss to fight them is to skate up their giant sword, which is just awesome.
Not only do they have a giant sword, that giant sword is a ship.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
we love boat swords here.
We love boat swords.
If I had a nickel for every time there was a boat sword in media, I'd have 2 nickels. It isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice.
No, it's cool it happened twice.
Big Pacific Rim fans here.
Oh, yeah.
But is there any lingering topics about the game that either of you would like to discuss?
So big spoiler territory. You kind of covered a lot of it, but just wanted to say, like, unfortunately, and it's not the game's fault, it's just media. If you meet a character and they're stuck in a time loop, you can safely assume you too are trapped in a time loop.
Yeah.
I, at one point, had looked up, I played the credits early because I wanted to check the voice actress, and I did not feel spoiled when I saw that her and Echo had the same voice actress, because I already, like the whole time, like, that's the same person. They
Uh,
got
You
a
can kinda
filter,
hear
but
it.
that's the same person.
Yeah, you can kind of hear it.
And so, like, yeah, and their echo, it's not too difficult to put that part together, but it's still neat to, like, get the whole picture. And the game still adds surprises. None of these are gripes, just interesting notes of, like, that's a weird point of my experience.
you
Like,
know, though,
yep,
I
pretty sure that
do
was the same person.
I do
Um,
think that the game's like core story in that way, of like you are the boss that keeps crushing you throughout your repeated attempts.
mhm.
I really like the way that they did that with the theme of grief and repetition and the need for healing. And it really, is like very pointed for people that have undergone traumatic events. Uh,
In this house, we love when the gameplay matches the theming or
exactly.
complements the theming.
And it's so easy to fuck that up. It's so easy to try to have a game that's about big, important things that's actually just fucking stupid and cringe. Look at everything that, oh God, oh, his name's escaping me. Omicron.
David
Heavyweight.
Cage. David
Look
Cage.
at
Yeah,
everything
yeah, yeah.
David Cage has ever made. Um, and it fits in that category. But Solar Ash manages to do it really well and in a way that is just truly competent and amazing.
Um,
Absolutely.
anything
Something
you want
that I
to?
don't
Oh,
something I don't know if y'all realized. The bosses, every boss is you.
Yep.
That's what Captain was telling me. I initially thought that the bosses were your friends.
Yeah,
That they had been turned
that's
into
what
apparitions.
I think the game initially eggs you to believe a little bit.
Wants you to think. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I was at first I was playing around with okay, so the remnants. So it's either your friends, the components of the civilization that got absorbed here, or it's you. And as it went on, I was like, oh, it's you. It's you.
It's you. Every
Um,
time you reset the cycle, the body of the character gets turned into one of those.
But also that means like you're at times you're talking about oh this place is or your character talks about this place is torturing my friends. It's no, it was you. It was you the whole time.
It was you.
Congratulations.
You
Played yourself.
Damn. You know what? You might need to reference that meme with the thumbnail for this episode. It might be the most applicable for this game.
That is true. But I'm glad the two of you had a lot of fun with this game. It's
Yeah,
definitely one of my favorite games.
So we've got limited time here. Or I don't want to rush you. Are you good? I didn't want to waste some later work you did. Is all.
Yeah, no, we're good here. We've solar ashed out.
There are two major things I want to cover that are left in this episode, and it is one. Tiny, would you like to announce the next? I was going to ask what the next game of the month is. It is
Next
Tiny's
game of
pick.
the month is a game that I already mentioned. It is Frostpunk. It is on
What?
Game Pass. It is in that kind of city builder genre. I think it is kind of the easiest to wrap your hands around, and it's got some pretty straightforward mechanics, but it is surprisingly addictive. I hope that you guys enjoy it. If you don't, well, you don't have to play that much of it because I only put 5 hours into Solar Ash. But yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys think in a month.
I also, before we move on, just wanted to say to our viewers, if you would like to submit a game for next month's game of the month, feel free to email us and it will be considered because I would like to do a viewer's choice as well. If
Yeah,
that's fine
I would
with everyone
absolutely
else.
love that. And that email is thecouchdimension@gmail.com. Don't forget the the.
It also
And-
helps that the year breaks up into pieces that are 4 months long.
Yes. So, I didn't mean to preload the segment with this, but I kind of want to go ahead and get to it since you prepared a thing, Red. I want to have a discussion about mobile devices, specifically mobile games, and the market. The Switch is fantastic. It's basically replaced Nintendo having a mobile console. It's both the mobile and the home console. Doesn't look like Sony is eager to get back in the game post Vita. There have been rumors of Microsoft making a mobile device. but there's not much to be seen. It just stays in the rumor mill. So I want to ask you boys, if you have fond memories of the mobile game market, would you like to see a resurgence? And how do you feel about the general state of things? And Red has some particular feelings on it that I believe you have prepared something for us.
Yeah, I'm going through my own kind of handheld gaming renaissance, I guess. I haven't talked about it yet, but I do own a few retro emulation handhelds where I play only the games I own and have ripped myself.
Of course.
But I also, as we all do, but I also recently built a brand new Game Boy Color. Tiny, if you would cue up the video.
Oh, yes, it is blank.
What you see is an actual Game Boy, though it wasn't built by Nintendo. This is an assembled, funny playing Game Boy Color. Unfortunately, I do not have footage of me building it, but YouTube has a lot of retro gaming enthusiasts building one if you are curious. For less than $100, you can have a somewhat modern Game Boy. It has a rechargeable battery with a Type-C plug on the bottom, and all of the original features work. It has a link cable support, headphone jack. The IR blaster can even be soldered to work. If you can click 2 Lego bricks together, you can build this thing. But to answer your question, Captain, handheld gaming to me is more about nostalgia, I suppose. Yeah. I have a strong love of sprite work, so going back to Game Boy Color, playing these older games has been very fun for me. What's also neat are the various ROM hacks and custom games people have made for these older consoles. I'm playing through Pokemon Prism currently, which is a hack of Crystal version that basically has every Pokemon up to X and Y with Mega Evolutions, retro sprites for these newly added Pokemon, and even Mega Evolutions. It even has its own region. Basically, is a brand new old Pokemon game, and I'm really enjoying the difficulty of it as well. And yeah, there's a lot about this that's really cool. You saw me go through a lot of the features you can toggle by using the volume clicker. But you brighten the screen, change what kind of resolution you're using. You can switch it between Game Boy and Game Boy Color to make the colors look right depending on what kind of game you're playing. I'm really in love with this little thing. It's usually like in my pocket or by the bed, which you figure a Game Boy Color would be in your pocket.
I gotta tell you now, it's reviving a little bit of a nostalgia for, like, technically you'd probably call it bad audio quality, but kind of like the bass is always pretty thick on these, and it sounds, sometimes it sounds like it's rattling the Game Boy.
So this one does, because I had the volume, I think, all the way up at the end. It is rattling the Game Boy a little bit because it is much stronger than a speaker an original Game Boy would have had. I'm sure you've noticed the screen is backlit. Yeah. That's really cool.
I was gonna say that's the most important thing to me. I love a good I need a backlit screen, but that is not a complaint. That is, like, if anything, it's the audio sounds when it's turned all the way up how I remember it. Maybe not how it was, but definitely how I remember it.
Yeah, I love the technical limitations of these old things, right? Like, chiptune and all of that sound design is built from necessity. And as many things built from necessity, there is a certain...
face reveal. Caught me off guard.
But there's a certain fun there and a certain creativity. Like, I love the booming sound that, like you were saying, kind of rumbles the thing. Because you didn't really have a rumble pack, and that's like the best sort of that's the closest you can get with that tech. And so I don't know, I love stuff like that.
Now I'm thinking about, like, riding around with my bass maxed out, volume turned up, but I'm, like, blasting some DuckTales moon theme. Rattling the windows.
I mean, that's what I do with my playlist that has all the old Donkey Kong music on it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm going to give myself some props there because that is the first time I had played Oracle of Ages in, I don't know, 20 years.
I really enjoyed those games. I wouldn't mind if Capcom got another shot at making some Zelda games, but...
Absolutely.
Because those are very good. Also, I don't know if you noticed, we'll be... not to get too ahead of ourselves, but we will at some point in the next few days be doing a trailer viewing or watch party for the Nintendo event that occurred. And one of
Yeah,
those
that's 2 p.m.
games,
2 p.m. CDT on Friday.
thank you. A Zelda game was announced that it appears that it takes place canonically in the timeline of the Oracle games and right after them. And I really like that era's art style because those games borrowed, like, artistically borrowed from Ocarina of Time. And so, like, the Deku Tree looks kind of like it should, or like you remember it from that game. And not to go too far down a well of that, just I'm excited to see them return to that. And I should probably replay those games. Tiny, do you, outside of nostalgia, would you like a return to mobile consoles? Are you good with that market kind of drying up?
It's so tough to say. I mean, my favorite mobile console of all time was the Nintendo DS.
Mm.
Um, it was just so awesome. I mean, it was the first time I think that you could really play like 3D games, kind of on the level of maybe N64, in your
Yep.
hand. And it was just, I loved it. I loved playing Mario Kart on it. Me and
We
Captain played
played
many hours.
so much Mario Kart. And I think part of it was for us was also like we were always playing split screen games. And you always want your own screen. And that finally allowed us to
Uh huh.
properly have that.
Yep.
Um
And
And
it's so cool y'all knew each other growing up.
yeah,
yeah, it's
awesome.
crazy. I I
But
oh go ahead.
Uh, I was just gonna say, to answer your question about, would I like to see other ones? It's hard because, like, the console market is kind of coalescing with
Yeah.
things like Steam Decks and ROGs. It's like everything that you can do on a machine that is stationary, you can pretty much do on mobile now, and that's cool in its own right, but that kind of, what I was talking about earlier, where these things are made under certain constraints, and I think in some ways that makes them better, that's gone.
Yeah.
I
And I do kinda lament that.
I will lament a console I only got into once it was dead. I really like the Vita. It's really sleek. It has a lot of good features. It just looks and feels good. Um, I got in towards the end, and in one world, maybe I wouldn't have been able to play many of the games anymore because I couldn't get on the digital store. And they're not selling those games in stores. But then a man broke into my house and jailbroke it and put a bunch of software on there. It's kind of nuts. And so, look, if I'm saying, listen to me carefully, you might want to look into getting a Vita, but and only to play legally and bar your windows because a man could break in and jailbreak your Vita. And some would say add value to it, but I think it's a dastardly act. Um, but
How dare they steal money out of the pockets of insert game developer here?
it would be a shame if the same. Well, it would be. It is a shame the same thing happened to my 2DS XL. I have to bar these windows. This
Wait, was
neighborhood's
it
getting terrible.
was it the same man?
I can only assume.
Okay.
I could only say trust no one, not even yourself. But for me, I like mobile stuff quite a bit. Like it's nice to have just a little handheld thing, and it's really nice for I don't travel enough to really warrant it in that regard. I hang around the house a lot. Even just you have a movie or some background stuff on that you don't super care about, but you're having a good time. Like just having a little handheld game and playing it. It's great. I still like that. That said, like I don't want to get rid of the Switch. I think it's fantastic, and it really fills that niche for me to a degree. Um, I don't know if I'd want a Microsoft one. Sony, I kind of wish they kind of left the Vita to die, and it bums me out because it's genuinely a good console. It's a really good console. And so I don't know. Emulators are neat. Red gave me an emulator for Christmas one year. That's very nice. I like it quite a lot. And
But of course, you
I
didn't
don't
put
know.
ROMs on that, right? That man broke into your house and put them on there for you.
Fuck, you're right. He did. He might have done it all in one night. But I don't know. I kind of lament. On one hand, I like where we're at mostly, but there's something I think to be mourned, especially like, does it impact me as much? No, but it impacts, kids growing up. They don't get that. And most of the games they play are on their phone. There are a lot of kids who like, not to disparage people who play phone games and stuff, but they've never like sat down and played a whole ass video game. They don't really know them that way.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
weird to think that there's a whole generation of kids that only know games through tablets and phones.
And as far as I'm aware of, they do exist. I've heard stories of like people interacting at family events and being like, "Do you play video games?" It's stuff on my phone.
Hyper
Yeah,
Light Drifter did win Game of the Year on phone, I think back in like 2017, 2018.
yeah, but I think a lot of them are doing like Subway Surfers shit.
I don't have any issue with real games being ported to phone, but I do take issue with mobile games just for mobile.
I think there are genuinely some good mobile games. Like, shout out to Ridiculous Fishing. It's a really, really fun mobile game. I've played some over the years. They're good, but they're very singular experiences. Very repetitive, very arcadey.
Well, like usually the really good mobile games eventually come to console anyway. One that comes to mind is like What the Golf. That was originally only on phones, and now it's on everything.
Yep.
I never got my Flappy Bird port.
Oh, you can at least find some versions on Steam. But yeah, I think there is something like the idea that I was gonna say that I'm sure there are mobile games with good narratives, but probably not. A lot of them are not going to put the time in for that. But then again, like I was thinking of, even like Mario might not have a rich narrative, but like it's a full ass game. Like 3D Land, I love that game. It's a fantastic mobile game, and
we love good gameplay around here.
If anyone announces a mobile console and it's got a strong lineup, like even just for my trips to my mom's place, yeah, I'd still look into maybe getting one. But
you're not trying to crank that Yuzu?
I forgot what Yuzu even was for a second. But like, I wouldn't mind having a space for a thing that's like not Steam Deck costly, but like, like the old mobile consoles.
You kind
of
got it something there about it. There's not a window in my life where not mobile games like on a phone, but like mobile consoles work for me. Yeah. Portable consoles. I don't have a puzzle piece in my life where that would fill, because I'm usually the one doing all of the driving, or not in a fuss. Like I'm not fussing about that. That's fine. Just like I don't find myself with the time to be chilling in the passenger seat or the back seat and just bust out a DS anymore.
Man, Tiny and I used to do that so much on like trips.
Also, I realized I made the wrong reference to something we talked about on the show. Playdate is what I meant.
Oh, Playdate.
Crank that Playdate.
Yeah. Like,
I was so
I didn't really know how they connected to Yuzu, but
yeah, one of these things has a crank on it, and the other one is defunct software.
One of them has a crank, and the other one got cranked.
when I have work again, I'll go back to looking at Playdate and going, do I want this? Every few months.
Yeah, it's such
one day,
a goofy
in a moment
thing.
of weakness, they may get my money. But what's your favorite video game movie? The original question is actually submitted by Made in Timeland, and their question was, or what's your favorite video game movie and why is it Doom? But I omitted that because how dare she? Where are y'all thinking? Do you have a favorite video game movie? Personally, if I'm gonna go with a serious what would I watch again? The new Sonic movies and the new Mario movie I like quite a bit. I know some people talk about the new Mario movie being kind of mid, but look, it for what it is trying to be and what it's trying to kind of bury in terms of the old one, it's great. It's fantastic. It did everything it needed to do. It was everything it needed to be. I had a fun time. I would rewatch it. Good movie. Sonic is a little bit more. Sonic kind of has the problem of I think sometimes some of the highs go higher than Mario, but the lows go much lower. So it's an uneven experience. But yeah, I realize I named 3 movies, but I guess I
go ahead, Tiny.
Oh no, you go.
Okay, Detective Pikachu is my favorite video game movie where I've never played the video game. If they ever made a Monster Hunter movie, that would be really
cool. It'd be cool if they did. That'd be cool if they did.
Too bad nobody's done one. And like you were saying, the Mario movie works very well.
Yeah.
That's funny because I was just talking to Made in Timeland about how I really wish that someone would do a live action Cowboy Bebop. But it's never going to happen, I guess.
It's never going to happen.
Rumors, and then nothing happened.
But if I can stretch the original premise a little bit, the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie was a really fun watch.
I'll allow it because that movie's fun as hell. That movie's great. Yeah. And I completely forgot about Detective Pikachu. I love Detective Pikachu. Some of the actors are less good than others, but overall, really, really fun movie. I had a blast with that one. Tiny, what you got?
I'm just gonna echo everything you guys just said. Detective
Wreck-It Ralph 2. Gotcha. Okay.
Fantastic movie. I like the Sonic movie. I never saw the second one. I hear that Mario's good. Haven't watched that either. But I think that movies, because let's be real, the original, mention of Doom in this question, game movies are bad, right? That's the societal understanding that we've all come to. And I think it's just because movies are just a bad format to tell the story of a video game, because video games are possibly the longest form of media and movies are one of the shortest. So you're trying to condense a 10+ hour experience into 2.5 hours long. And that's honestly why I think things like Mario and Sonic have seen success, is because the story was light enough in the first place that you can just kind of go off.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah. And you just get to spend some time in that world and you have a really good time with it.
I would actually really love to explore your thoughts on the second Sonic movie and Mario when you do get to watch them. I don't know if we could spin that into a segment. I don't know if there's enough meat on those bones, but personally, I still would love to hear your thoughts. I also just want to say, Wreck-It Ralph, well, not about a video game. Great video game movie. Wreck-It Ralph 2, internet movie. Not as good.
Yep.
Outside of you know what? GTA part didn't kind of make me want to play GTA. It did kind of capture the spirit of that game.
Did you guys ever watch that? Was it Ryan Reynolds or Ryan Gosling in that movie where he's an NPC in a GTA universe?
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
I meant to get around to that, and I never did.
Yeah, Free Guy.
That's it.
I heard some people, I think Michael Q and some others, talk about it being cringe, but I also saw some people say, it's fairly fun. So, I was willing to give it a chance. I think I will say video game cinema is way better than it used to be. Though, I did say, with what's your favorite video game movie, good or bad, I do want to give a shout out to the original Mario Brothers movie, because it's bad. It's very bad, but it is very funny bad.
With the Mario Brothers and Plumbins, our game, we're not like the others that do it for the fame.
I'm sorry,
That's
that's
the
from the
show.
new
I know.
Mario Brothers movie.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
forgot they took that from the
They
show.
did. That's part of the fun of that movie is like there are a lot of little throwbacks to things. It is extremely charming, I would say. It is very endearing in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's a very good, endearing movie. Not to
In
mention
a way that like I enjoyed Sonic, but I don't know that Sonic sometimes wastes some time on things that like, man, I do not care about. If you watch Sonic the second Sonic movie, you will know what I mean when I say I do not care about this wedding. But scenes of like Knuckles, Tails, and Sonic and Eggman all interacting. Oh, the best. That
I think we kind of talked about that on an earlier episode where like James Marston's whole situation kind of becomes like a what do you call those? A vestigial organ of sorts. Of like this was really needed in the first movie to ground us, but now you're just getting in the way.
Though credit to him, I think he is fairly endearing in his interactions with the gang, especially the few scenes we get with him and Knuckles. They're very strong.
There's also a Knuckle miniseries I haven't watched yet.
I still need to watch that. It's kind of weird. Very divisive. I saw people love it and people hate it, but I should give it a try.
My name's Knuckles. Unlike Sonic, I don't chuckle. I'd rather flex my muscles.
Sorry, I wasn't panning it. I was trying to remember the next line. I'm sorry. That was not a panning of the joke. It ain't hard to tell. I'm hard as hell.
I don't know if that's the lyrics.
I don't know. It's not I'm hard as hell, but it was something.
Look, you keep your opinions about Rouge the Bat to yourself.
Only if Knuckles does too. Okay, well, I think we're talking about Knuckles being hard, so that seems to be the natural conclusion of the podcast, wouldn't you say, boys?
Yeah, I agree. If we go any further into this territory, we're going to end up with Crush 40, and we've already been there once today. Let's not go back.
I mean, it would be cool as hell. Okay.
But that's our show. Thanks, everybody, for listening. For those listening live, go ahead and hit that follow button on Twitch. And for those that want to be listening live, you can catch Couch Dimension every Tuesday at 5:15 p.m. CDT. And you can also now catch it on YouTube. I'm trying to start up multi-streaming. So whether you're a YouTube viewer or a Twitch viewer, you can find us live at that time. Additionally, we will be bringing you our final trailer watch party of the summer with Nintendo's coming this Friday on Twitch and YouTube at 2 p.m. CDT.
And as I just want to say, as someone who has seen bits and pieces, but for the sake of the podcast, like I do try to stay blind to some stuff. There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the most poppin' of all the
There's
events.
some good stuff in there.
It's I got a lot to say about one thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cap.
I'm eager to do it. Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. But where can fans find our edited replays?
They can find them on YouTube, as well as exclusive content on YouTube, like our recorded watch parties. I realized I got called on like, is that exclusive? Because it's on Twitch too. But yeah, it's exclusive.
It's non-podcast, right?
It's non-audio.
Sorry, podcast listeners, but I cannot sit there and describe every trailer frame by frame as much as I wish I could.
We can. We're just not brave enough. If you're listening on YouTube and like what you heard, please give us a like and a subscribe. You can ring the bell, as it were, so you can see when we posted new content. But that's not all. Red, tell the people about our audio-only options.
You can find us on podcast platforms, Apple, Amazon, and Spotify by searching for Couch Dimension. If you're a podcast listener, please subscribe to the show so it can be downloaded to your device every week. And don't forget to rate and review to let us know how badass of a job we're doing, but only if you think we're doing a badass 4.5 to 5-star job. We'll be back next week with another great show because we're trapped here by a wizard. He has my car keys. I'll need those when I get out of here.